everybody. Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are talking with the lovely, talented Karla Marx. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. I was interested to get to learn a little bit more about you and about your career and just kind of what you do in the world. But for those who are new to you, can you give maybe a little elevator pitch about yourself?
Sure. I'm a drag performer, comedian, burlesque dancer, host here in Alberta. I originally grew up in Edmonton, but I've been based out of Calgary for the last few decades. So yeah, this is my third year with Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. I've done a bunch of hosting for them in Calgary, but now this is my first time coming back to where it all started for me in Edmonton.
hmm So how does it feel when you get that first call that says, "Hey, we want you on the lineup"?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's such a huge opportunity and you get to work with such amazing people. And I kind of walked into it really excited to perform with these, big names and a giant stage and thousands of people. But honestly, what I look forward to the most now is the crew. It's a really cool group of people that you get to work with. And they really try to do like their best. They try to make a meaningful community impact. They're really great people, and generally, when you find like a production like this, you're like, oh, this is like where you want to be. They're great. They're on top of everything, and we throw great shows together. So it's really really fun.
That sounds awesome. Having that kind of perfect feel of a show has got to be just comforting for everyone, really.
Oh yeah, they always put you in a position to succeed and it shows with the product, right? I mean, the shows are always so fun and everybody's backstage having great interactions and things and then that always leads I always think that backstage chemistry always leads to onstage chemistry and every show that I've been a part of with these guys has definitely been the case.
That's awesome. Now, drag and comedy both have, aspects of timing, presence, performance. How
Sure.
do you bring the two together on stage?
Well, I host a lot of shows. So that's actually how I started was hosting drag shows and burlesque shows. And, every once in a while something goes wrong and some terrified tech guy gives you the like, oh, you gotta fill, you gotta talk for a minute, something goes wrong. And that's kind of how I started doing jokes because I did a lot of shows in Banff and there's a lot of people who are on a lot of substances and you gotta grab their attention and
Oh,
hold it for 5 minutes and that can be hard. So I started, kind of making people laugh. And then a friend of mine was like, you're doing stand up while you're hosting. And I was like, I don't think so. And then I wrote out a bunch of my hosting jokes, smushed them together a 5 minute set and realized, oh, like maybe they were right. Maybe I have been doing this. So that's kind of how I've crossed over to the two different worlds.
and it's got to be pretty fun realizing that and then saying, "Hey, I can roll with this in a lot bigger atmosphere now."
Yes, it's been quite a journey. I've been very lucky with a lot of opportunities, and yeah, it just keeps going. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Now, being on a big outdoor stage like that, what's the most chaotic thing that's probably happened with you?
I think it's been the protesters.
Mm,
Last year when we were doing a big queer night, there was a lot of protesters, which were actually the Canadian geese. No, like not physical protesters, but the like a whole like flock of Canadian geese kind of like stormed the grounds like while we were setting up, which was they're mean, they're vicious.
are, yeah.
Because in Calgary, we do it at Princess Island Park, and that's like their turf. And so they were like not thrilled that we were there. But, I mean, I think luckily I've had really good luck with that, and I haven't had anything too chaotic happen. But there's always definitely like, okay, in the event of weather, this is the plan. This is what I have to like run on stage and announce and all these kinds of things. So it's like, there's like obviously the like imminent it could happen, but I've been lucky. I've always avoided like the smoke has sometimes been an issue with forest fires or rain, and I've always had really great luck. So it's just been smooth sailing. So here's hoping.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm based in Ottawa, and we had it
Mhm.
here I think 2 years ago now, and
Yeah.
unfortunately I was out at another festival, so I wasn't able to get out to cover that one. But it sounds like a fun, all over experience, and it's good that you've had
Mhm.
that luck on your end of the country.
Oh yeah, people get into it. It's bananas. Like they decorate their tables and like people show up with like blankets and picnic and like all these little troll dolls and like light up stuff. And you can always tell like it's actually really great as a comedian because when you're on stage and you see somebody who's just like saying like, "Come, I want the attention, give it to me," it gives you that like safe place to like, oh, I can go play with this person because I know that they're
They're
like,
ready for it. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Now, who are you most excited to see this year?
Well, I mean, I'm so lucky. I get to host like All Stars, all on July 20th here, coming up in Edmonton. Fortune Feimster, like fully
Yeah.
iconic. I was actually just rewatching Drag Race, and I was watching season 11 where they came on as like a like LAPD harassing drag
Yeah. I
queen
remember
sketch.
that episode. Yeah.
Oh God, it was so funny. And so I was just watching that. And then Mateo Lane is obviously like iconic. And there's so many great like clips from him. So that's really cool. And then I'm gonna like stick around and kind of just like hang out in the green room because I hear Martin Short is popping in afterwards.
Okay.
And I know he's been in a lot of movies, but a big Mars Attack fan.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to meet him too. So.
No, that'd be fun. Now, one of the things that you're prevalent in is a big part of the community and community involvement. How does that go beyond the stage for you?
Oh, well, I mean, I really love to make both kind of happen at the same time. I think that we can talk about serious things and have a good time. We can do good work, we can uplift community, and we can also like enjoy ourselves and do it through love and celebration and laughter and joy. And so I love going out and making an audience have a great time with me and having so much fun. And then maybe afterwards I'm saying like, hey, there's these things that are going on. And if you had a good time with me and a queer cast, maybe, get educated, see how you feel about that. And I find that most people are just here to be supportive and just kind of let everybody do their own thing. And it's a small fringe group that kind of gets whipped up and we kind
Yeah.
of just, you know, you can't make everyone happy, but the vast majority of people are really receptive to the messages that I put out there, which are basically just, hey, we're all people. We're
Hmm.
all trying to get through our day, and maybe we should try to take care of each other.
Yeah. I mean, those are pretty just easy concepts to get around, really.
I think so.
Hmm. Now, what do you think makes the Great Outdoor Comedy Fest stand out from other events?
Iconic venues, crazy good lineups. I mean, it starts right there, and then they build a really fun, like almost kind of like festival carnival experience around it. Because there's there's our mascot running around
Yep.
joking with people before the show even starts, and there's like great drinks and food available, and it's kind of like. I mean, our summers in Canada are so short, but they're so beautiful. And I think anytime that people can get in it, just like have that big giant picnic kind of feel, and then you add like amazing headliners to it, it's just a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, people, you got to come down and see this. So I think that's what really has it together. It's a great festival, and then it's also like can't miss performers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the combination, like you said, is kind of the key. And I'm hoping next year that I can arrange to have like my team come out across the board and see if we can get a snapshot of just how every one of the festivals is.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go to Edmonton this year. I was like, I keep bugging them. I'm like, let's go east. Let's go to Halifax or something. And they're like, here's a bus ticket. I'm like, that's good too.
Yeah. So I'm curious, being a drag performer and obviously some outfits and things can get very extravagant. Have you ever
Yeah.
had one completely not survive one of your performances?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's definitely times that, something just malfunctions and a seam goes and, everything just kind of melts down. And that's kind of the best when that does happen.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I love live theater. I love the drama. I love not knowing what's gonna happen. So like I think especially with like a lot of baby performers, with a lot of new performers, especially in drag, they're always worried about like the perfect number. And I'm like, no, there's beauty in the chaos. There's so much opportunities for humor often when something doesn't go right, and just embrace it and roll with it and have that like yes and kind of mentality. So definitely have had, a few costume malfunctions along the way. But I'm very excited because I actually build like a custom look every year for this
Okay.
that kind of like embraces the like buffalo plaid thing. So I showed up my first year in this like outfit that I had made for it. And most comedians, I love them, but it's like jeans,
Mm, yeah.
sneakers, and I showed up and I was like, okay, like I need a place to get ready. And they're like, you do? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a drag queen. We
Hmm.
gotta it's a whole production. And I came out of the trailer and I've got like the big hair and I've got the giant skirt and I mean all the things. And they're like, whoa. And then they're like, wait, you kind of match the pattern of our fabric. I'm like, of course I do. I'm a drag queen. I'm going to do the
Yeah.
assignment. And so then I did it last year, and I've got a crazy cool look coming this year that's like very Club Kid Lee Bowery inspired from like the 90s. So
Okay.
it's kind of like an homage to like more kind of pattern play and stuff. So I'll be bringing that out in Edmonton soon.
Oh, that's awesome. I was introduced to drag with my wife loves watching Drag Race, and she
Sure.
basically said, "Come sit down and watch." And
Yeah.
it gets so it's so to me just insane how the process and detail and the work behind some of it is. So it's interesting to hear a story from your perspective about how you go about putting something together like that for your performance.
Yeah, well, I want something that fits the mood, that fits the atmosphere, that vi telling a visual story is also so important as a drag queen. And so I want to always be sure that I'm engaging in that in a certain way. And so knowing that, the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival has such an iconic brand around it and has such a clear visual story that you'll feel when you're there, I was like, well, how do I bring drag to that? How do I make it a component of that? And so, the buffalo plaid is that red and black checked. It's so great. It's so iconic. So yeah, I mean, I start designing and working on my look like in February.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, so it's a long process because I gotta find inspiration, I gotta come up with a design, and then I work with amazing costumers who help bring it to life because my designs are often beyond my sewing abilities. So I'm like, always trust your experts, get your girls who really know those sewing machines, and I'm like, okay, this is what it needs to look like, and then there's fittings, and then I do go trials through like what the different makeup will look like and stuff like that. So I mean, to do a big stage, a big show like this that you want to look your best, it can start 4 or 5 months ahead, the preparation for sure.
and it's just crazy to think that you're putting all that into it, and then it
Mhm.
seems like it's over in a flash at the end.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm on stage for maybe 10 minutes to open the show. And, I my normal shows, I'm doing sets that are much, much longer. But
Mhm.
in this big stage environment, you've got to connect quickly. You got to get the hosting notes and things like that done. And then you got to get that audience as warmed and fast as possible. And then, there's that big blinking clock that's counting down, and you're like, okay, how much time do I have to slip in one more joke? Or, oh, I got to bail. And so there's a lot that you're kind of carrying in your mind at the same time because you're hosting and doing a set to warm people up. So it's a lot, but it like you said, it goes so fast. It's so much work, and then you're up there for 10 minutes. That's it.
So, what do you think your favorite part about a festival like this is with the community and everything involved? Like, what's the one thing you look for the most?
Oh, it's the audience. It's always the audience for me. I mean, that's why I perform is that simple love of entertaining people. And that first moment that you get that laugh and you're like, "Oh, they're in. I got them." When you get that laughter, you're like, "I'm doing it." And the interesting thing about doing a show like this, because the last one I was doing was like 7,500, like on seven or just over 7,000, and doing a crowd like that compared to like a crowd of 75 is you get like rolling waves of laughter where like you'll hit a joke and you're like, oh, okay, everybody like way back there love that. And then you do another joke and everybody over here is like going, and so you kind of like learn to like stitch them together like a big tapestry. And when you get that full roar across all the sectors, you're like, okay, they're ready. I'm out of here. Here's your next performer. And yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I love that's so unique about this is experiencing that size of a of an audience kind of laughing and working together. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I always ask a couple fun questions at the back end of my interviews, maybe
Okay, let's
a
do
little
it.
bit more. And
Sure.
I think you'll have a nice perspective on this. Is what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
What's one thing that should be asked more? Um, I mean, a lot of hosts are really great about like, where can we find you? How can we promote you? I love always that. It's always great to get the word out, which is so huge. I think my favorite is when people ask me like the really oddball questions. Like the icebreaker kind of like I feel like I always connect with people when I'm hearing interviews when they're asked something that's just like, what's your favorite ice cream? Or like, those kind of like let's get to know you kind of questions. Yeah.
Well, that actually leads into my next two. The my great debate question, and I think it's the funniest one to ask, is do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
Do I think a hot dog is a sandwich? No,
No, why not?
this is a hot dog.
But on paper, it's meat between in a bun, which same as a Subway sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, but like that exposes a functionalist versus intentionalist debate, right? Because if you're saying I'm breaking it down to its base components and therefore there is a similarity or cross comparison, I understand what you're doing. And you're saying in terms of the function of food, they're the same. But I would say that the intention of the hot dog, which is clearly erotic, is, different than a sandwich, which is nurturing and love. It's wrapping food all around your face, whereas a hot dog is like the horniest of all bread, meat related objects. So I feel like there's an essentialist debate. There's a spirit that is hot dog that is unique from a sandwich.
Now, can I just say that's been my favorite answer of every time I've ever asked that question? Like you put the most thought and just it makes sense. And I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, that's great. Another fun one. Who plays
Yeah.
the movie of your life?
Who plays the movie of my life?
Like, who plays you as the lead if you were to cast?
Oh, wow. I mean, I hope it's Hunter Schafer.
Okay, that
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
can.
just hope it's not Bianca Del Rio.
But
I actually love Bianca Del Rio, but
that's the thing. You get to cast it, so it's whoever you really want. You can make Bianca be whoever you
Hun-
want in the movie if you want.
Hunter Schafer. I'm going for Hunter Schafer. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, a couple last questions because I know we have to go. What motivates you to keep pursuing this career?
Oh, the audience. Laughter, connection. Absolutely. I love building spaces for queer people to feel comfortable and normalized. And that used to be building spaces that were like smaller and like more underground and more like distinctly all queer. But as my audience and brand has changed and grown, I've really enjoyed bringing queerness into broader events through my presence and queer people feeling more comfortable in those spaces that they might not have checked out before, but they're like, oh, I see Karla's there. I know I'll have a good time. Because they know that I always try to take care of that audience. And I try to find a way to center queerness that is inclusive of everybody. But they know that they're going to be safe with me there. And so it's building that queer community, it's broadening that queer community, it's being an advocate for trans communities. And yeah, and then just making people laugh is like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, making people laugh is the spice of life, I say in the end.
Well, I mean, I think for me, I always have that opinion that there's no fixed meaning to life.
Yeah,
That the beauty of life is that we get to find our own meaning in it. And for me, I've always felt that spreading joy is such a worthwhile thing to do with your life. And so if I can make people laugh, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
100%. Now, last one, most important is, are you
Okay.
happy?
Am I happy?
Yeah.
Yes, I have a wonderful life. We have my wife and I have four dogs and a little patch of grass that we're safe in, and we have this little oasis in our town, and we have wonderful community around us. I will say that it's a pretty challenging time to be a trans person. There are a lot of people who have opinions about us that I'm kind of like, if you're not trans, why do you care so much?
Exactly.
It's not mandatory. You don't have to be trans. I don't know if you really need to care that much. So, the only thing that I really would change would just be to end these weird trans debates and turn that back to the way things were in 2015 when doctors covered healthcare and, teachers, parents, and kids figured out what pronouns to use, those kinds of things. I just think that trans lives have been so politicized unnecessarily as like a distraction from much bigger concerns that we should be focused on. So that's kind of the only thing I'd really change. Otherwise, I'm having a great old time.
I mean, that makes sense. And like you said, if you're not trans, then why do you care? Like it doesn't make sense to me why you
Yeah.
care about that.
Jon Stewart said it so great on The Daily Show back in 2015 when the Americans were finally getting on page with gay marriage.
Mhm.
And he was like, you know, I think they're going to make it mandatory. Otherwise, why do so many people care?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a great joke, but I think it also works for trans people. Like, and I think not to get too political, but I understand the base feeling that gets people concerned or interested in trans rights. Because, sometimes somebody will say, hey, there's trans people and they do these things and this is what they're like. And if you've never sat down and had a conversation with a trans person, there's a natural inclination to be like, wait, what? Is that like really? Huh.
Mhm.
If you've never met a trans person, there's a curiosity, there's a maybe even a disbelief or just a moment of ignorance that you just don't know anything about this community. And that I totally understand, but I feel like sometimes that gets weaponized
Yeah.
into, yeah, and they're a threat to you. And it's like, no, actually, we're just a conversation and you'll be fine.
Like I myself have definitely had my ignorant moments. I
Oh, we
don't
all have.
things but like why not just have a conversation like you said? It's fun to get to learn about like yourself and what you do and
And other people in other walks of life. And I've learned so much from connecting with other people that, maybe initially I was like, I don't know about this. And you're like, actually, no, this is totally cool.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that's a great way to put it for sure. And I know you have to go, so we'll call it now, but I definitely had a great time getting to learn about you, about what you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing some feedback from the festival and seeing how everyone loved it.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks so much for having me.
I definitely hope we can do this again at some point and
I'd love to.
maybe we can see you live and doing your thing one of these days on stage.
Well, I will be. I mean, I actually, one of my drag children moved to your town. Rip'em is in Ottawa. They're one of my drag children. I love them very much. And they're tearing it up and they keep wanting me to come out and do a show in Ottawa. I will be back in the Toronto region. I will be in Toronto in November to host their burlesque festival.
Okay.
And then I'm also in Montreal in September to host the national burlesque competition.
Okay, I've got team members in Toronto and Montreal. If you're looking for photographers, anyone to come out and
Oh,
about, just let me know.
okay, that's great.
Where can people find you on social media before we leave off?
My Instagram is at Karla.Marx1917, and that's Karla with a K, Marx with an X. I never thought I'd have to spell that when I chose that name, but here we are. So it's Karla.Marx1917, and if you know why the 1917 is there, you passed high school history. You can also find me at karlamarx.com, karlamarx1917.com on the old interweebs, and then I'm also on Twitter at karlamarx1917.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, we'll sign off and you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye now.